Good morning to my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And today I come to you from Mount Gibraltar down here at Bowral, Mittagong, Bowral. And I'm at a lookout here, and as you can see there's a magnificent lookout across Bowral, and you can see all the way out there to Mittagong, and it's a lovely place to be. Check it out. I've been coming to Bowral for many years, ever since my children were babies, because my wife's uncle Theo Baghelli and his family lived down here, and we'd take every opportunity whenever we could to get in the car and escape for the weekend, to catch up with Theo Baghelli and the family, and also to learn a little bit more about this beautiful part of New South Wales. As you can see, it's really green. It's had a lot of rain over the past 6 months, and it's at its picturesque best. Anyway, let me tell you a story. Years ago, I think back in 1995, I think it was, I was about 35 years of age, and I'd taken up running, one of the many things that I've done over my life. As for those who know me, I do get to do lots of different things, a little bit like Forrest Gump. I'll do it for a while, and then I'll dump it, and then do something else, and dump that, and do something else. But I always replace an activity with another activity, and I never ever just hang around doing nothing. I think that's a secret to my sanity, that I've always had energy, always wanted to do things, and I've always gotten away with doing as much as I can. And luckily I haven't been injured over the years, so I can continue going. I guess the thing that drives me now, at my age, now that I'm 60, is that I want to do as much as I can while I can, because I know there'll come a day where I just won't be able to do anything. So live day by day and do the most we can every day. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Another little story that I've got to share with you is back then when I was into my running. I got my dear wife Paula to drop me off down in Bowral in the shopping centre there, and I ran all the way back to Mittagong via the Gib, Mount Gibraltar. And for those who know, I'm at the top of Mount Gibraltar here now, and as you can see, it's quite elevated, quite high, and the road up here is just one continuous incline which goes for kilometres. So I ran all the way up to the top and over the top and all the way down to Mittagong, and that was quite a feat. But what I love doing is I love testing myself, I love pushing myself, and I love the challenge. I love giving myself a challenge, and hopefully those challenges will continue on going on and inspire other people in my family to just keep motivated, keep moving, and stay active, because my father was active. When I was growing up, my father loved to jog, he loved to exercise, even though he worked 7 days a week. He was very much an active man, and I remember I had fond memories of my dad when he'd be in the house and it'd be raining and he couldn't go outside, so what he'd do is he'd sit in front of the mirror or stand in front of the mirror and jog on the spot for about an hour. So I think I've picked up his OCD, his level of OCD, and I do similar sort of things. So I'll swim for an hour, I'll dance for an hour, I'll walk for hours on end, and I just do things. So that's, you know, at the end of the day, that works with me, and I guess regardless of what works with you, then I encourage everybody to make the most of every opportunity they have available to them. So what are we going to chat about today? I guess I'll chat about, what can I chat about? I've actually got a book here. A book which I read back in 1995. It's a book, it's how many pages long is it? It's about, it's well over 500 pages long. And I'll just move the camera to another angle and just show you that I've gone through that book. I've read it a couple of times actually. So let me just move the camera. I'll just change the angle of the camera and I'll just rest it up here and just show you. So if you can see the book there, I'll go on the other side where the wind can keep the page open. There's always a way. So I'll do it this way. As you can see, every page has notes, is highlighted, and is a treasure trove of information. So anybody wishing to go on a personal development journey, this is a wonderful book. It's written by Anthony Robbins and it's entitled Awaken the Giant Within. And as you can see, every single page is highlighted. It's got my notes in there, and it's quite powerful. I read it twice, and I actually studied it. So I've spent a lot of time in this book, and it's one of those books which I can absolutely recommend. I actually was very fortunate to have gone to a couple, not one but two, Anthony Robbins seminars, Unleash the Power Within seminars, and found them very, very useful. But what can we talk about? Let's talk about reading. Let's talk about books. And the important thing to understand is that when you've got a book, you don't just look at it. You just don't look at the pictures. You just don't look at the pages. But you need to read it in 3 different modes. And a friend of mine many years ago, John Nematala, said that the first reading, you read it just to gain an appreciation of what the book or what the text is all about. And then the second time, you read it for meaning. So you start underlining, highlighting. And the third reading is when you read it and you start reading it in terms of how to apply it. I've learned over the years that people always talk about knowledge, and a lot of people have a thirst for knowledge. There's no doubt about it. There's a market out there for knowledge, and hence we've got Google and all the other social media and sources of knowledge. But what is more important than knowledge? As I say, that knowledge is power. Some people say knowledge is power. But I remember once somebody saying, well, knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is potential power. So if you want to have power, then you need to apply the knowledge. So it's all about applied knowledge. And this is what will take you from being a student to a master. And not only is it applied knowledge, but it's also taught knowledge. So one thing is to learn something, but if you want to reinforce it, if you want to make it a part of you, then the first thing you've got to try and do is teach it. So my teaching, my learning, my suggestion to young people, especially those who are pre-HSC, early in their high school years, what you need to do is whatever you're learning, you've got to learn it with the intent of teaching somebody. So pretend you're the teacher. So as you're learning it, you've got to ask yourself, what am I learning and how am I going to pass it on? And by having that sort of mindset, you will learn it to another level, to a deeper level, and to a level where you're able to then leverage it pass it on, and start applying it. The great cultures, the great empires of the world are the ones who have been able to take knowledge and apply it best. The great armies of the past are the ones who have been able to use technology, to apply knowledge, and to use it to their advantage. Because just knowing something on its own and not using it is just a waste. You might as well not even know it in the first place. There's no difference between somebody who knows everything and somebody who knows nothing and does nothing. Unless you're applying that knowledge, unless you're using it, unless you're leveraging it, unless you're teaching it, unless you're passing it on, it's wasted knowledge. So that's one of the key learnings. So as Anthony Robbins would say in his seminars, miss your lunchtime, miss your training time, but don't ever miss your reading time, because it's that reading time which enables you to grow and develop. It's that reading time which allows you to tap into OPE, which is other people's experience, and it's the other people's experience that we can leverage to grow and develop and to become magnified versions of ourselves. We've talked about it time and time again. You can spend your whole life trying to learn, trying to reinvent, or trying to invent the wheel for the first time. And you may get there, you may not get there. But you've got to understand that there are thousands, there are millions, there are billions of people who have come before you. And all the things that have troubled you, all the things that have troubled me, all the things that have crossed our mind have also crossed their mind. Make no mistake, there is no original thought. Everything that you will ever think about in your life has been thought about before. And most probably it's been solved before as well. So all the problems that we're facing, other people have faced. So the trick is trying to tap into their solutions, what they've done to solve their problems, and to use that and leverage that, rather than to try and rack your head and spend the rest of your life trying to come up to a solution to what you think is your original and unique problem. There are people out there you can tap into. There are people who you can seek advice from. There are books you can read. There are websites that you can go through. And it's called OPE. Let me say it again, over and over again. OPE, other people's experience. So you're not alone, regardless of how bad or how troubled you may think your situation is. Whatever challenge we face, there are multiple solutions. There's more than one solution to every problem. And but you need to have the mindset. You need to have an open mindset, a mindset that believes that there is a solution, a mindset that allows you to trust that there is knowledge, there is accumulated knowledge around you that you can tap into and that you can use. So most importantly, apply your knowledge, learn things and straight away apply it. And the best way of applying it, as I mentioned before, as I alluded to, is to teach it. Now, if I had my time again, I'd have an iPhone, I'd have a mic, and when I'd come home from school, I would sit down and I would quickly just try and reiterate what was taught that day, what it meant to me, and I'd be asking myself the question, how can I apply this? How can I teach this? How can I use this? Why is this important? And you can ask those questions in class as well, because if the teacher can't tell you why it's important, why you're learning it, and how you can potentially use it later on in life, then they don't know it well enough themselves. They haven't gone through the process. So take some time. Take some time to become a master in your field. And as we've said before, the more you learn, the more you're capable of learning. Because learning is all about attaching the unknown to the known. So the more you know, the more you're capable of knowing. So these things, books, have got to be your friend. They're more important than friends because they won't let you down. They're there for you. Grab a book, sit down and read every night. Spend an hour reading. Spend an hour, try and read 30 pages. Then another 30 pages. Then another 30 pages. So read it for the first time. Just read it. Just read the words for the first time. All right? Don't worry about retaining anything or understanding anything. Read the words. The next reading, you should read it for meaning. And one thing you can do is to go through the chapter headings or the index. Just go through the chapter headings and read the chapter headings. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 30, Chapter 40. And those chapter headings will provide a hook in your brain. And then you ask yourself, what is this chapter about? Like the heading, what does the heading suggest? And that'll make you curious. Because you've got to be curious. To learn, you've got to be curious. You've got to be an eternal teenager. Don't grow old. Don't become an old person who thinks they know everything. Because once you think you know everything, then your brain will seize up and your curiosity will disappear, and that you'll think you're the oracle, and nothing else will come into your life that you'll be able to retain. Always be curious, always maintain a level of humility, knowing that there's more to learn, and as the ancient philosophers always say, the more you know, the more you realise that you don't know as well. Anyway, let's finish up with a positive affirmation from this wonderful, wonderful location here, the lookout on Mount Gibraltar down here at Bowral. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, let's apply our knowledge. Let's read. So the first one is read the words. The second one, read for meaning. And then the third time, when you read it, taking notes and adding notes to your reading, ask yourself, how can I apply this? How can I use this? How can I teach this? And that way you'll retain it. And 30 years later, you'll be saying, I remember reading that book and picking out these 3 points. Because you could read a whole book. I've read books where all I've done is underline one sentence. But that one sentence was an absolute gold mine in terms of allowing me to attach the dots in other areas of knowledge. So just keep on reading, keep on learning, and maintain that drive, and never give up. Regardless of how old you are or how young you are entitled to learn, and your youthfulness is a reflection of your curiosity and your willingness to learn. Now you could be 30 and be an old person, or you could be 60 or 70 and be a young person, and what differentiates the old from the young is their curiosity, their thirst, their drive to learn, grow and develop. Anyway, enough from me. Take care from Jim's 5 a.m. Club, and tomorrow I'll come to you from another wonderful location. Don't know where I'll be, but hopefully I'll be able to deliver an empowering message, an observation, a book summary, or just, who knows, we may even just have a chat about anything. So take care, and let's just finish up with just one beautiful view of Bowral, wonderful Bowral. Bye for now. Yasas.